Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and founder of analytical psychology, offered profound insights into the human psyche, particularly through his concept of the shadow and its role in personal growth. The idea that your dark side can reveal your life's purpose is deeply rooted in Jungian philosophy, which emphasizes the integration of all aspects of the self, both light and dark, for psychological wholeness and self-realization. Below, I'll explain in detail how Jung's concept of the shadow relates to discovering one's life purpose, breaking it down into key components, processes, and practical implications. Understanding the shadow in Jungian philosophy. The shadow, in Jungian terms, represents the unconscious part of the personality that contains repressed traits, desires, instincts, and qualities that an individual deems undesirable or unacceptable. These can include negative emotions, for example, anger, jealousy, fear, socially taboo impulses, or even positive traits, for example, creativity, assertiveness, that was suppressed due to societal conditioning or personal experiences. Characteristics of the shadow. The shadow is not inherently bad. It's simply the part of you that you've pushed into the unconscious, often because it conflicts with your ego, your conscious sense of self, or societal norms. It often manifests indirectly through behaviors like projection, attributing your own unwanted traits to others, emotional outbursts, or self-sabotage. The shadow is dynamic. It evolves as you grow and is shaped by personal experiences, culture, and upbringing. Why the shadow matters. Jung believed that ignoring or suppressing the shadow leads to psychological imbalance, inner conflict, and a life disconnected from one's true potential. Conversely, confronting and integrating the shadow fosters self-awareness, authenticity, and a deeper connection to your life's purpose. The shadow and your life's purpose. Jungian philosophy posits that your life's purpose is tied to the process of individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming your true, whole self by integrating all aspects of your psyche, including the shadow. The shadow holds clues to your purpose because it contains suppressed energies, desires, and potentials that, when understood and embraced, can guide you toward a more meaningful and authentic life. The shadow as a source of hidden potential. Suppressed traits in the shadow often include gifts or strengths that you've disowned. For example, someone who suppresses their assertiveness out of fear of conflict may find that embracing this trait allows them to lead or create with confidence, aligning with their purpose. Unacknowledged desires or passions in the shadow can point to what truly drives you. For instance, a buried longing for artistic expression might reveal a calling to create or inspire others. The shadow as a mirror to your purpose. The shadow often reveals itself through strong emotional reactions, such as envy or anger toward others. These reactions can highlight what you unconsciously desire or value. For example, if you feel intense jealousy towards someone living a creative life, it may indicate that creativity is part of your unfulfilled purpose. By exploring these reactions, you can uncover what Jung called the self, the archetype of wholeness that integrates all parts of the psyche and aligns you with your unique destiny. The shadow and meaningful conflict. Jung believed that life's purpose often emerges through tension and conflict, particularly when confronting the shadow. Facing your fears, insecurities, or dark impulses forces you to grow, develop resilience, and clarify what matters most to you. For example, overcoming a fear of failure, a shadow trait, might lead you to pursue a bold career path that aligns with your deepest values. The process of shadow work. To uncover your life's purpose through the shadow, Jungian philosophy emphasizes shadow work, a deliberate process of confronting, understanding, and integrating the shadow. Here's a detailed breakdown of how to engage in shadow work. Self-reflection and awareness. Identify shadow traits. Pay attention to emotional triggers, judgments, or recurring patterns in your life. Ask yourself, what qualities in others irritate or upset me? What do I avoid or feel ashamed of in myself? These are often projections of shadow content. Journaling. Write about your emotions, dreams, or moments of discomfort. Jung believed dreams often reveal shadow elements through symbols or figures that feel alien or threatening. Example, if you're constantly annoyed by people who seem arrogant, this might reflect a suppressed confidence or ambition in your own shadow that you've been taught to view as negative. Confronting the shadow. Face your shadow without judgment. This requires courage, as it involves acknowledging traits or desires you've denied. For instance, admitting to feelings of selfishness or anger can be uncomfortable but liberating. Active imagination. Jung developed this technique to dialogue with shadow aspects. Visualize a shadow figure, for example, a personification of your anger, and engage in a mental conversation to understand its perspective and purpose. Example: through active imagination, you might discover that your anger stems from a suppressed need to set boundaries, pointing you toward a purpose centered on self-empowerment or advocacy. Integrating the shadow. Integration means accepting and finding healthy ways to express shadow traits. For example, if you've suppressed your creativity due to fear of judgment, you might start small by engaging in creative hobbies, gradually aligning with a purpose tied to artistic expression. Integration doesn't mean acting out destructively. For example, unleashing rage, but channeling shadow energies constructively. Anger, for instance, can be transformed into passion for justice or change. Example: someone who discovers a repressed desire for leadership in their shadow might take on roles that allow them to guide or inspire others, aligning with their purpose. Seeking guidance. Jungian analysis. Therapy with a Jungian psychologist can help navigate shadow work, as a trained analyst can guide you through unconscious patterns. Creative practices like art, music, or writing can also help externalize and process shadow content. The shadow and the collective unconscious. Jung's philosophy also connects the shadow to the collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of archetypes and universal human experiences. Your personal shadow is influenced by cultural and societal forces, which can obscure your life's purpose by imposing external expectations. Cultural shadows. Society often dictates what is acceptable, leading you to suppress traits that don't conform. For example, in a culture that values productivity over introspection, you might repress your need for solitude or philosophical exploration, which could be central to your purpose. Archetypes and purpose. The shadow may connect you to archetypes like the hero, representing courage to face challenges, or the creator, representing the drive to express. By integrating shadow elements, you align with these archetypes, which guide you toward your purpose. Practical implications. How the shadow reveals your purpose. Here's how engaging with your shadow can concretely lead to discovering your life's purpose. Uncovering hidden passions. Shadow work often reveals suppressed desires that point to your calling. For example, someone who feels unfulfilled in a corporate job might discover a shadow-driven passion for teaching or healing through introspection. Overcoming self-sabotage. The shadow can manifest as self-doubt or fear that prevents you from pursuing your purpose. By confronting these, you clear the path to act authentically, building resilience. Facing the shadow requires courage, which strengthens your ability to pursue a meaningful but challenging path. Authentic relationships. Integrating the shadow fosters self-acceptance, which improves relationships and allows you to connect with others who share your values, further clarifying your purpose. Aligning with the self. Jung's ultimate goal of individuation is to align with the self, the archetype of wholeness. Your purpose emerges as you live in harmony with all parts of yourself, including the shadow, challenges and risks of shadow work. While shadow work is transformative, it's not without challenges. Emotional discomfort. Confronting the shadow can evoke shame, fear, or guilt, as it forces you to face parts of yourself you've avoided. Projection and conflict. If not handled consciously, the shadow can lead to projecting your issues onto others, causing interpersonal strife. Overwhelm. Diving too deeply into the shadow without guidance can be disorienting. Jung emphasized the importance of balance, integrating the shadow gradually while maintaining a connection to the ego. To mitigate these risks, approach shadow work with patience, self-compassion, and, if needed, professional support from a Jungian therapist. Examples from Jung's own life. Jung himself engaged deeply with his shadow during a period of intense self-exploration, documented in the Red Book. After his split with Freud, Jung experienced a psychological crisis, confronting visions and inner figures that represented his shadow. Through active imagination and dream analysis, he integrated these elements, which fueled his development of analytical psychology and his understanding of the collective unconscious. This process not only clarified his purpose as a thinker and healer but also demonstrated how shadow work can lead to profound personal and professional growth. Practical steps to start shadow work for purpose. To apply Jung's philosophy in your life, here are actionable steps to begin shadow work and uncover your purpose. Notice emotional triggers. Keep a journal of moments when you feel strong emotions. For example, anger, envy. Ask, what does this reveal about my shadow? Explore dreams. Record your dreams and look for recurring symbols or figures that might represent shadow aspects. Practice self-compassion. Approach your shadow with curiosity, not judgment. Recognize that it's part of being human. Engage in creative expression. Use art, writing, or music to externalize shadow content and explore its messages. Seek feedback. Ask trusted friends or a therapist to point out blind spots in your behavior, which may reflect shadow traits. Meditate or reflect. Spend time in quiet contemplation to connect with your inner world and listen to what your shadow is trying to tell you. Take action once you identify shadow-driven desires or strengths. Take small steps to integrate them. For example, if you uncover a suppressed desire to create, start a creative project. Conclusion. In Jungian philosophy, your dark side or shadow is not something to fear but a gateway to discovering your life's purpose. By confronting and integrating the shadow, you uncover hidden potentials, resolve inner conflicts, and align with your authentic self. This process of individuation allows you to live in harmony with your deepest values and aspirations, revealing a purpose that is uniquely yours. While shadow work can be challenging, it's a transformative journey that fosters self-awareness, resilience, and meaning. By embracing your shadow, you not only heal yourself but also contribute to the world in a way that reflects your true essence.